Okay, guys, good morning to all of you. Hope you're okay today, right? We have to start our class in this moment. Um, and today we're going to be working something very interesting, a new topic called classroom management. And I hope you are like watching the platform and noticing what we have to do today. So first of all, we have to work on this, right? We have to work on our class, and secondly, we have to study. We have to perform an activity, a total activity. And I don't know if you have noticed that in the platform, I have written some indications to successfully complete or fulfill your quiz. So it is important you can read it. If you don't know, if you are having or problems, right? I mean, if you're having some issues to understand, or maybe you're a little bit confused, right? But you can write to me. Feel free to write me to contact me and let me know if you wanna know something, right? Okay, wait a minute. Okay, sorry for the interruption. So as I was telling to you, right, in our topic for today's class, we have to uh, study something new related to constructive listening and classroom management. And I hope you can enjoy the topic, right? You can be able to acquire new competencies within this lesson. I believe that this one is very important for every teacher because we are accustomed to ask the students if they are understanding or if they have understood on a specific topic, right? So using these kind of topics, we can understand if our students are acquiring the competencies or goals for the lesson. So the topic for today's class is this one, illicit intuition. Maybe in your life you had heard about eliciting, or maybe not, right? Well, eliciting will be one of the most useful topics during your life as a teacher because this happens when you are starting a new lesson or when you want just to understand if students handle something right, to understand the topic in context. Because sometimes we are maybe explaining something you need to know, right? Or if you know as a teacher that to understand that topic that you want to teach, the student must handle previous topics. Uh, but if they are not like understanding or handling, manage, measuring, and some specific topics, they are not going to be able to learn something new. That's why listening is important in the classroom. And today we're going to be having this opportunity, right? To understand the listening and, and obviously to have some exercises or examples about this, right? So this is just a general topic, right? Listening and teaching or listening is a technique that ESL teachers, I mean, us, right? Every teacher who teach English can use to get information about what the student know and the know. This is why we are using listening in the classroom. We want to know if our students understand something or if our students measure something. This means that the teacher becomes more capable and doesn't waste time rehearsing the students' existing knowledge. Listening creates a learning center environment and it is very that provoking for the students. And listening can be used for a great deal of things such as listening vocabulary, grammar, synonyms, and so on. So as you can see right here, a listening is just a technique. It is a technique that you choose as a teacher to know if your student handles something, if your student knows something. You are starting a lesson, you want to know, right? If your student know about the lesson, you ask specific questions about the lesson. For example, in this case, right, this class, I can ask you if you know what the listening is. Maybe some of you will be telling to me some related ideas, right? Maybe some of you are looking for information or maybe Googling this, right? And that's okay because you are doing that because you want to learn, because you want to know what is this, right? Well, eliciting is used for every teacher around the world, not only for me, right, or for some. No, everyone's using eliciting. Sometimes we don't say eliciting to our student, right? Or we don't say, well, today it's time to elicit information. No, right? We don't say that. Maybe we can say recall or review information to students. Well, in my case, I don't say this to my student in seventh grade or in second or in first cycle, right, in high school, or even in university. I'm not telling to students, well, today is time to elicit. No, but we know the term. We as teachers know the term. We know that this term is very used and exists, but we don't want to say it. Yeah, I can say that it's not necessary to say it's time to elicit. What you can do is just to start making that review, that powerful review that will be giving you the idea if your student knows, right, about this. So, for example, about this topic, right, I can ask to you some specific questions like, do you know about this? Have you ever heard about this? Or have you ever heard a teacher talking about listening? Maybe you will explain to me, well, actually, I have never heard about it. Or maybe you can say, well, my teacher, let me see, my English advanced teacher used to say this when we were in classes. Maybe my literature teacher uh, tell us at the beginning of the class, just time to listen, maybe like. Why? Because it's nice and it's something very accurate. I can say that. So just in grammar, vocabulary, synonyms, antonyms, and so other rights. Why? Because well, in grammar you will be watching some couple of information in here. But in grammar, for example, if you want to teach a perfect tense, I mean the present perfect tense, you know that you have to listen to information. Maybe you can ask your students, do you know about past participles? Right? If your students are memorized or have memorized verbs, they will be able to say, well, the past participle is the performed successive verb. That's true. Now you know that your student will be able to understand the present perfect tense. But what happens when you discover that your student maybe haven't memorized or are not studying the verbs? Well, they quickly as a teacher know that they are not going to be able to learn the new topic because they need that previous information to understand the topic in context. So that's why listening is important and let's teachers to know if they are following the correct way. Because if I am teaching the present perfect tense and I know that my students are not following the indications, studying the verbs, I know that it's gonna be a waste of time because I will be teaching about the present perfect, but they don't know something or they don't know anything about simple past. So it's a waste of time. But this is our learning competency. And well, let's start with this one. Listening provokes these five things. Discovering, okay? When you elicit, you discover something from your students. There are many times in which you can say, well, they are not going to be able to learn, but you discover that they are. Eliciting lets you to discover the vocabulary that your students are having in mind. Listening lets you discover the methodologies to follow. Then you have realizing, well, in this one, you know how to do it, right? You have your own methodology, your own techniques and approaches, and every teacher is very different. And then when you are listening, for example, in the case before, as I said, well, if I want to teach the present perfect tense, but my students are not measuring the past participle of verbs, they're not going to be able to learn the perfect tense. So you have to understand how to have to go to this one, to the second one, realizing how can I do as a teacher to solve this situation? Maybe I'm not gonna pass teaching about um present perfect. Maybe I have to reinforce. I have to support the simple past tense. So I had to teach it. Maybe I can take one class. It's not a big time, right? I can take one class and I can say, okay, guys, today we have to study about the simple past tense. The simple past tense has the regular and the irregular verbs. The irregular verbs change their structure and the regular verbs just add DRT at the end. So the regular verbs has three different pronunciation in the past. And, and this is something that you have to know very well. Well, if you start teaching this right, because you elicit and you discover and that your student didn't know the information, you have to realize how to do it and you start looking for something new, right? What can I do to solve this situation? Maybe I can't teach the present perfect tense, but I can reinforce or support the simple past. So then you have to be very creative. You can say to your students, okay, guys, I need you to memorize for the next class 10 birds. And you can list your student a list of birds. Well, this is searching, right? Searching for the methodologies. Well, in this one, you can say, well, guys, I need you to memorize 10 birds, 20 birds in simple present, in simple past, and in past participle. Well, maybe in this way your student will be learning something different, right? And you can start teaching the present perfect tense. And you can say, okay, today we have to study the present perfect tense. And want to know, right, if you have memorized the verbs and you start asking the verbs your students, how do you say that in English? Blah, blah, blah. How do you say that in English? Blah, blah, blah. Can you please let me know how to say take it in the three forms or the state of verbs since your students start saying to you? To taken. Oh, you had memorized the past participles of the verb take. So you are searching, right? Then drawing out. Drawing out means how to work, right, in students. How your student can use the vocabulary or the new topic. Well, in this case, when you start listening once again to discover that your student memorized every part of the birds or every part of the birds in the list. Wow. So you start drawing out. It means you start assigning something new, right? Something to do in the class. Maybe students pass around the class to say the birds. Then you can play Kahoot, for example, or you can have any other activity to extract that vocabulary from your student's mind. Now you're sure, right? That your students are understanding what they have to do. That's why listening is one of the most powerful techniques that you can use, right, in the classroom. It lets you discover if you're a student major or the amount of students who major the class, right, or the topic or the new topic. Then you realize how to do it. Then you search for methodologies. Then you put it into practice, try it out. And at the end, and you're sure that you can start teaching the new topic and you know that your students are understanding the class. So this is eliciting, right? Eliciting is just understanding if your student major one topic. You extract from your student's mind the information. You ask a question. If your student are not able to answer you, well, you have elicited and you know now how to do it, right? So continue. It says right here, listening gets students involved in the lesson because they are actively producing speech and giving information. When you start listening, you know that your students are talking to you. They are giving you information about what you are asking. The students become active learner rather than just listening to teacher give information. The teacher can assess the student's knowledge and in turn adapt the lesson to the student needs. This is a great deal of collective knowledge in a group of students and utilizing this knowledge makes the teaching of new knowledge more memorable. As I said before, right? If you want to teach a present perfect tense, you have to realize, right, if your student major the simple past. Okay, what about in vocabulary? Listening vocabulary is used when we want the student to come up with a word on their own. Well, this one, for example, is not only the vocabulary but phrases, or just one word, what term about a philosophy. Let me ask to you. Um, Wait a minute, Fatima Mariela, are you here, Fatima Mariela?
Yes, mister.
Okay, Fatima, can you please let me know um, vocabulary, right? Vocabulary. Can you please let me know what is constructivism for you?
Honestly, mister, I have no idea.
You don't have any idea? Okay, thank you. Nice. Remember, guys, that we study the constructivism, right? We did it um, some days before, maybe the last month, I guess. We were studying about constructivism, and I assigned to you, right, some information. You have to keep reading, remember. Let me see. Well, continue. This may be because you have tapped the word already and you want to review it. Review it. And this is what I was asking to you, right? About constructivism. I asked you to discuss what is constructivism, and constructivism is teaching, taking into account what students already know. That's constructivism, right? When you as a teacher start teaching something, you're sure that your student know about something. You just start from that scene, right? Meaning it is not necessary to go over or to start from zero, to start from something. An easy way to elicit vocabulary is by giving definitions. Let me see. Thank you so much, William. And that's right, right? Very good. Provide the students with a definition and see if the student can supply the correct word. This is something that we as teachers do, right? Maybe during exam or in spelling classes. You provide a list of words. You can write the words in let me see if I can show to you something related to this one. Wait a minute. I have something here. Yes, I have something for you. This is what I'm telling to you. Wait a minute. I will be showing to you an activity like this, talking about vocabulary, right? I'm sharing to you now. Wait a minute. Well, I guess you can see this one, right? I guess you're watching this. I think, well, what happened is what happened when we say constructivism? Well, we say this. Pay attention in this one, right? That you can give information to students. Your student can just put the correct word right there because they have already memorized or they have already done it before, right? Let me see. It's not this one. You just ask your student to collect to put the correct words right there. So we already done it. Maybe we haven't this one. Oh, um, no, it's not like this activity. I had origami, which is the best one. Oh, it was not in this book. Wait a minute. I want to show to you the correct one. Okay, it's this one. If you can see right here the vocabulary used, or it can be this one, for example. You can provide your student a list of varieties, right? If you want uh, to do it with them. For example, be, what is the simple past of be? So you have already practiced this vocabulary and they just start working on it. They just start using it exactly, the constructivism. And you can start listening information because in this case, as I said before, you provide a list of birds to the student, right? Then you can write the list of birds on the board, on the whiteboard, and you can provide some space to write the rest of the class, right? I mean, the rest of the birds. For example, in the case of B, what is simple past of B? Well, the simple past of B is this one. Then you can say to the student, what about this one? Well, quickly, past continuous, right? It's like this. You got it? Was, were, been. So in this case, your students are very good. Thank you so much. You're going to start teaching, taking into account the previous knowledge. Excellent. So this is what I was telling to you, right? Your students start working on this one, and they do this, right? Went, they say was, where, once again, right? Was, were, on. So they are able, as you can see right here, they are able to write their own answers. You got it? And you are listening. Why? Because you want to teach the present perfect tense, for example, but you provide a list of birds. Now you're asking your student to write that list of birds on the space in blank, and they start doing it. You just provide one example, and they can follow you working in the same. So now you got it right. Choosing vocabulary. In this case, I can subtract the vocabulary from our students' mind. Let me see now. Let me return back to our EP, EPTs. And get this, when you see this technique, make a student and ask the students to paraphrase by choosing a synonym using opposite antonyms. Well, this is very nice and accurate because the second one is very accurate, as you said, or very understandable or very useful when you're teaching. Let me show you something about this. Wait a minute, I'm looking for that. I want to show you something related to synonyms. Why we say this? Well, because we just want to be able to get something from our students. You can watch this one, right? I want to show you this. This is about synonyms is important, an important topic because you're gonna be using it. For example, in this case, as you can see right here, well, it's talking about synonyms. So if you provide a list of synonyms, your students or techniques or skills, right, they're gonna be able to use it in real context. For example, you can say, well, guys, I will be teaching to you about synonyms. Then you can provide some examples like this, right? On the recording you hear, why is Barbara feeling so happy? She just started working in a real estate agency. Oh, got it. Now the answer is you start teaching your student according to synonyms how to answer this one. And you can say, well, guys, every answer that sounds like any of these words, like real estate agency, because according to the skill, the second speaker has the answer. Okay, from the 1 to 30 questions, the second speaker has the answer. The first speaker just give you information, but the most important part is in the second speaker. Listen, when we are talking or when we are using the synonyms I talk to you, if you want to answer this one, you have to select the one that doesn't sound the same. You got it? Because this is the purpose about synonyms. For example, she just started working in a real estate agency. She always liked working in real estate, though this cannot be the answer, and you know quickly because it sounds the same. What about C? Real estate, it sounds the same. What about D? Real estate agency, it sounds the same. So they are not synonyms. What? Of this one doesn't sound the same. Letter P, because it says become, which is the synonym for started a new job. And that's it. You got it? So we have to teach synonyms in this way. You can teach the synonyms and maybe sometimes we got one problem because we just provide a list of synonyms and antonyms to students and we say, okay, what is the synonym for, let me see, a synonym for fat? And your student will be telling to you, sturdy. Okay, very good. A synonym of hungry, starving. Nice, you're very intelligent. But what about when we put into practice this one, right, in this way? What's very different because here you can start asking to you right quickly, wow, this is something very different, but we're using the synonyms. You got it? You understand this first?
Yes, mister.
Very good. Now we have to return back to this one and it says eliciting grammar. Well, for eliciting grammar you could use a situational, dialogue, a drawing, or modeling. Create some kind of context for the students to understand the grammar points. So let us see something related to grammar. Imagine that I will be teaching to you something about grammar right now. Okay? Don't worry, this is just an example. We are starting a new lesson and our lesson will be about, let me see, intonation. Okay? Intonation. I taught this class the last day. This is why I'm teaching to you right now. Well, I'm using it as an example. This is about intonation, and I want to elicit from you. First of all, I want to elicit from you what is intonation. What is intonation for you guys? Can you please let me know without watching something else or looking for the information? Just what comes to your mind? Volunteer.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
I guess is the rise and fall of our voice when we are speaking.
Nice. Very good. So you were directly to the point because that's the accurate information. Intonation means rising and falling pitch, right? When we're speaking, they uses our tongue and voice, and this is very this can vary. This can vary per every person. And this one, which is very different and just, we can just do it whatever we want. The intonation can appear at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of the sentence, of the same sentence. But how can I understand this? Well, I have to use the grammar to understand intonation. Do you know that? Did you know that we have to use the grammar to understand intonation? Because if you don't use the grammar, you are not able to understand intonation. Have you ever noticed? Yes or no?
Yes, Mr. Is like, for example, in question.
Excellent.
Yeah, the intonation is different when we are doing questions.
Perfect. Okay. To do it, I have to ask my students, guys, well, you told me what is intonation, right? Very good. Now I ask to you, what are the four kinds of sentences we have in English? Can you please let me know the four kinds of sentences that we have in English?
Rise falling.
No, no, no. The four kinds of sentences that we have in English.
Sorry, the word types of intonation here. Sorry.
Don't worry. Can you please let me know the four kinds of sentences that we have in English?
Positive, negative question.
No, they are not. Because if I say positive or a negative, well, every sentence has a positive or negative form. You got it? All of the sentences are containing a positive or negative form. So that's why we say that this is not the correct answer. Can you please let me know?
Interrogative, imperative, or I don't know.
Nice. Excellent. So we had four, right? Number one is
Okay, about
declarative,
declarative,
excellent, interrogative,
and imperative.
interrogative, exclamatory, and wait
Imperative.
a minute, and imperative. So these are the four kinds of sentences that we have in English. Now I can ask to you, right? Can you please let me know what is this? What is this? What is this? And what is this? And at the end, what is this, right? You can start telling to me, well, the declared sentence makes a statement. It starts with a capital letter and end with a period. Very good. So we say the concept. What about interrogative? Well, interrogative sentence, ask a question. It starts with a capital letter and end with a question mark. Nice. What about exclamatory sentence? Exclamatory sentence makes a strong feeling and it starts with a capital letter and ends with an exclamation point. Very good. Then you can, and then maybe I can ask to you, right? What is an imperative sentence? Well, an imperative sentence makes a request or a command and start with a capital letter and then with a period. In this one, I can submit the subject. Very good. You got it? And you the student start giving to you information. Can you please let me know the structure for the declarative sentence? Very good. Yes, for sure. They are subject plus verb plus complement plus period. What about this one? They are verb plus subject plus verb plus question mark. Nice. What about this one? Well, it's very similar to the first one. Subject plus verb plus complement plus this one. Very good. What about this one? Just contain the subject and the complement and a period, or sometimes the verbs, right? I mean the verb, the complement, and an exclamation point. When you start doing this, right, we're using the grammar part, you can teach your student intonation. If you know that your student understand the four kind of sentences, the class is gonna be very easy because they're gonna be acquiring what intonation is. Not only the concept, right? Because you know the concept, but sometimes we are unknown these parts, and this is a big problem when we wanna understand something new, right? Why? Because in the TOEFL test we need it. Let me show you why. Look at this one. So intonation are important in this one. I will be giving to you an example of this. And our example is in here. You can see this one, it says expression of surprise. Okay, intonation, emphatic expressions. If you don't know about emphatic expression, maybe you cannot understand in here this one. The second speaker will get to the answer. You're not gonna be understanding how to answer this question on the TOEFL test. Why? Because you don't know something about intonation. You can see here, did you see Paul driving around his Mustang? Then he did get a new car. So you see it? Because intonation appears wherever you want. You can say, then he did get a new car. Then he did a new car. Then he did get 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 a new car. You got it? But in this one, you have this. Then he did get a new car. So what comes to your mind? Do you know that structure? Yes or no?
Yes, mister.
Okay, nice. Do you know how to translate it? Okay, if you know how to translate it, you're okay, right? Well, if you know how to translate it, that this is the form to say yes, right? In a different form, you're okay. So that's why we say that listening is very important, right? Because it lets you to understand if your students are able to pass um to the next topic, to a new level, right? So continue. Predicting is used a lot when teaching reading. Normally, a headline with photos are used to elicit from the students. In this way, you can get the students to predict the story, ideas, forms, and language that are likely to be used. Well, predicting why? Because you have to stop for a while to think if you are damaging your student's mind as a teacher. Because if the topic is very dark or difficult, and you know because you have elicited that they need more classes or supported lessons, you have to do it before studying something more difficult. In this case, could be the TOEFL test, right? I cannot I start teaching the TOEFL test to students in first year in our career, right? Because they're gonna be feeling afraid. Maybe they're gonna be telling, well, I'm not gonna be continue studying, for example, English because wait a minute. And you the students start like working on it. So they're gonna be telling to you, well, I'm not gonna continue studying English because the TOEFL test is very difficult. Maybe right? Maybe they can start telling to you this. This is that's why we have to predict. If your students are not able to study something, you have to give supporting classes, or you can teach the topic or the previous topic until getting that difficult topic. Sometimes some topics are so difficult that we as teacher have problems to understand. That's why we say that we have to be very careful of it. You got it? So continue with this one. Listening ideas and background information. Well, eliciting background information led you to start teaching with constructivism methodologies because this is the input, right? What comes to the student mind when they are not with you, for example. This may come from teachers, anecdote or story, a text, pictures, or a video, and involves the sharing of knowledge between teacher and learners. Information is often elicited onto a mind map on the board. Both. This is very functional when you want to start something and you say you're a student, okay, guys, I want you to give me um or I want you to provide me with some ideas, maybe a brainstorming, and you write the topic or any word right in the middle of the whiteboard. Your students start showing to you, right, a lot of new words, and you start writing the words in the whiteboard until getting the correct concepts. This form can help your students to understand more about the lesson than just listening or reading a sheet of paper, especially during the exam, right? That they need this information. Sometimes they need that information to answer the questions you have provided for the exam, the test. So they start thinking, right, about the lesson and they say, well, I remember that one class we did this brainstorming and we started providing the teacher some words and he told us, right, that these words mean this or maybe this lesson refers to. Well, in this case, um, they start understanding what they have to do. You got it? So this led your students to be able to learn more actively, more productive. This is what we have to do every time. Our students can be productive using the information. So that's why we have to make this background information. You have to do it. You can do it every class. Or in these classes, sometimes it's not so easy, right, to do this listening because remember, didactic is very opposite to any other subject you have taught before, you had attended before. Because in a grammar class, right, I can ask to you, for example, if I have to teach the part of speech, I can ask you about adjectives. I can say, do you know anything about adjectives? And I start subtracting for you a lot of information. But in this one, it's very different because the terms are more academic or scientific. And if I ask you this, maybe probably, right, some of you will be looking for information on the network or just saying, I don't know. That's why we have to say it as teachers. We have to teach it using informational examples or just the ones that I am trying to bring to you today. Okay, continue. Cultural considerations. But in our country, it's not so common to have a foreign student, right, in the classroom. It's not so common. But we have sometimes just student coming from the United States or Canada. I have lived this, right? I have lived this experience in the classroom that I am having some students who have come from the United States and they're having a very good level of English in a course or in a group with students who are having basic English. So this is very difficult because they start getting boring in your classes. They don't want to stay in the classes because they say, I know everything, or maybe they start standing up, making some noises, or uh, being disobedient, right, in the classroom. So we have to look for a lot of materials, methodologies, activities for helping both the students. Because in here you find while listening clearly contribute to students' involvement, it doesn't always produce the desired or expected results. Questions such as who can tell me something about may be greeted with stunned silence. Students are wrongly labeled as lacking knowledge or being too shy when there are often cultural reasons for their reticence. Okay, in this case, right, maybe as I said before, in our classroom, in this classroom, nobody is from the United States, or no one is from England, or no one is from Africa. But in the United States, it's very different, right? Because a teacher can have students from around the world. And I think that we have to be very careful using the exact information to students, okay? So they are able to understand more about the class without being offended or without being shy, right? This is a big problem. Not only in children, because children are more like active than us, right? With the university, sometimes if we say this, if we ask these questions like this, right, very open, who can tell me about something? Well, students start thinking about the pronouns that they have to pronounce words, or maybe they start thinking about other students, maybe will be laughing about him or her. That's pretty normal. What we as teachers we have to look for uh, that part, right? That's that way in which the student feel free in the classroom, feel comfortable, confident, practice. So you start listening, choosing cultural considerations. Well, in this one, you have more points about how to listen in the classroom. You can use pictures or just actions. In pictures, you know, right? You can bring some flashcards to the classroom to subtract information. You can show your students some flashcards and they start telling to you something in English about the flashcard. Maybe you bring your student flashcards about birds and you show someone dancing, for example, without having the word printed there. And they start looking for the word. Well, what is this person doing? And then someone says, that person dance. Whoa, that's good. Dance, right? And you start like, oh, well, very good. This activity is very functional. Did you have action? If you are eliciting an action, the most effective way to do it if you find skills are up to scratch is simply to do it. Follow what you're acting with concept checking questions to make sure everyone interprets your actions correctly. This is like the mimic way. Well, this is something that we as teachers do in the classroom. I have done it. It's very meaningful, functional, and works a lot because you start making some actions in the classroom. Maybe you start dancing and you ask your student, what am I doing? And your student can tell you, you're dancing. Okay, very good. Now what am I doing? You can start like acting if you are eating something. Your student say, you're eating. Very good. So this is the form in which you can subtract information from your student using flashcards or pictures in the classroom, real materials, or actions, right? With memes that you can start moving yourself or doing something or letting your student understand. Now you have this one, just description. If a picture won't work, describe the word situation, choose definitions, synonyms. You can start talking about the place, right? You can start maybe talking about a famous player around the world. You can say, well, this player is the most famous one in Instagram. Uh, he is a great soccer player. He has scored a lot of goals, or maybe he is the person who has scored the majority of goal in this word soccer, and the people will tell you the answer right quickly because you are describing someone. Don't try to list it everything. Oh well, this is not that's right because remember you cannot stay doing this in the classroom or during the classroom or during the class, I mean, um, because you still will be feeling uncomfortable, right? You can do it in some periods of times in the classroom, maybe at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of the class, right? Or when a new topic or a new lesson or a new word appears. In that, you can subtract knowledge from your student. For example, the last day I wrote miscellaneous on the quiz on the midterm exam, and many of you start asking to me, what is that? What is miscellaneous? What does it mean? So in that day, remember that I just gave you the information. But the next time you ask me something, I maybe have to use some techniques like providing to you a description, and you will be understanding more right about this. Okay, we have just this one. Don't flag a dead horse. It means sometimes even with the best of intentions, our student will know one on air. We are trying to elicit. We'll test everything under the sun except what we are looking for. That's very normal. Sometimes we're just asking a lot and you didn't get the information you want. Now, guys, I want to elicit a new topic. Let me show you right now. And I told you that you can download this information, right? The last day, you can do it. As you can see, I want to do something from related to my second class, right? And I was thinking about you, and I said, well, this topic can be very useful for with to my student attending didactic, right? You can see here avoiding similar sounds. Well, this topic is related to minimal pairs. Guys, can you please let me know? Can you please let me know what is minimal pair for you? Do you know do you know something about minimal pairs?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very
So
good.
yeah, that word with similar sound but very different meaning.
Excellent. They are having similar sounds, right? But different spelling and different meanings. Very good. Okay. Yes, those are minimal pairs. Now I have this activity for you, right? And I wanna list it if you just know the concept or you can use it. You got it? This is the main purpose of the class. If you can do it. Wait a minute. Ahorita tengo clase. ¿Qué pasó? Okay, continue. So sorry for the interaction. Um, wait a minute. Okay, this one. Let me see. Well, the purpose is that you can answer the 10 questions, right? Correctly. The 10 questions correctly. You can just get 2 airports. Okay? Just 2. No more than 2. Just 2 airports. But you have to be very honest. Tell me the truth, right? If you had do it correctly or not. Okay, you ready? Are you ready?
Yes, mister. We are
Very
ready.
good.
I'm ready.
Nice. Very good. So I guess you have downloaded, right, the information. And right now I'm gonna be just letting you to have the audio. Okay. Now you see this, right? Just see this. Solo pueden ver esto ahora. Usted ya tiene descargado lo otro. Así que vamos a trabajar en esto. Le doy clic ahorita y usted presta atención para saber si comprende que es minimal pair debe tener 2 malas. ¿Ok? Pero tampoco es evaluado, ¿verdad? Así que tranquilos. 1, 2, 3.
Recommend the hotel where you stayed in New
Esa no
York?
es, eso solo.
The hotel provided service that was unequaled.
Esperemos que termine esta.
What does the man say about the hotel?
Después de esta, bien.
TOEFL Exercise 8. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question in the recording, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should be particularly careful of double negatives.
Well, wait a minute. No era esta. Permítame un momento, que me equivoqué. A la que no era.
TOEFL Exercise 2.
Ok. Wait a minute.
Number 7.
Ok, ahora sí.
TOEFL Exercise 3. In this exercise, listen carefully to the short conversation and question in the recording, and then choose the best answer to the question. You should be careful to avoid answers with similar sounds. Number 1.
How long until you'll be ready to leave?
First, I need to water the grass.
What does the woman mean? Number 2.
Do you think I should buy this sweater?
But it doesn't really seem to fit right.
What does the woman mean? Number 3.
Is Walter's job near here?
Walter's been commuting to Boston on a regular basis.
What does the man say about Walter? Number 4.
Did Bob memorize every detail in the chapter?
He wasn't able to master the lesson.
What does the man say about Bob? Number 5.
It's so sad what happened to the animals.
Yes, it is. Whenever there's a forest fire, many animals die.
What does the woman mean? Number 6.
Do you want to take a look in the store?
You bet. The shoes are on sale for $20 a pair.
What does the man mean? Number 7.
Why didn't Tom come with us this afternoon?
He was attending a required biology lab.
What does the man mean? Number 8.
Why are you waiting here by the front door?
The mail should arrive at noon, and I'm expecting something important.
Why is the man waiting? Number 9.
Do you think it'll rain today?
I heard on the news that a bad storm is heading in.
What does the man mean? Number 10.
Is there any way I could help you with dinner?
Would you mind chopping vegetables for salad?
What does the man ask the woman? TOEFL exercise, skills 1 through 3.
Okay, guys. I guess you're finished, right? Now, I will be giving you the answers. Vamos a ver cómo salimos en esta pequeña evaluación. Así que, pay attention, right? Let me see. Wait a moment. Ok, revisan ahí. 1, 2, 3. Number 1. La número 1 es C, de casa, C. Número 2. Número 1, C de casa. Número 2. Let me see. A. Número 3. A. No, perdón. Me equivoqué. Número 1, C de casa. Número 2, A. Número 3, D de dedo. 3D de dedo. 4, B de burro. B de burro. 5. Let me see. B de burro también. 6. C de casa. 7, C de casa. 8, D de dedo. 8 D de dedo. 9A. 9A. Y 10, C de casa. C de casa, 10. ¿Cómo salieron? Pueden escribirlo, pueden hablar.
Bueno, me salieron 7 buenas.
Okay, nice. The rest ones?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Okay, same, right? I can see something in the chat right now. 6, 7, okay, that's great. Bueno, 7, 6 also, very good. Muy bien. Ahora, 7. Okay, Sonia. ¿Por qué les decía que es diferente conocer el concepto que el uso? Bueno, y les decía, pueden tener 2 malas, les dije. Porque cuando estamos en el test, ¿verdad? Ya en un test como este, solo podemos tener 2 malas, o en la práctica, ¿verdad? 2 malas porque estamos hablando de que son 30 preguntas al inicio, ¿verdad? Entonces, dentro de las 30 preguntas que tenemos, necesitamos sacar 10 malas por todo de 50 para tener un escalafón. Entonces, si yo tengo más de 2 malas, probablemente no tendría un escalafón, porque si ustedes cuentan, si son 30 y sacan 2 malas por 10, son 6 malas de la 1 a la 30. Alguien puede decir, pero eso es bueno, 6 de 50, prácticamente 590, sí, pero luego faltan 20 más y son más largas las conversaciones y es donde las personas sacan todavía más errores, ¿verdad? Por lo tanto, se aconseja que el estudiante tenga simplemente 2 malas. Si tiene 2 malas, va un poco bien. De esta forma, el joven, el estudiante, pues lleva una ventaja, porque si llegara a tener, en el caso de esto, ¿verdad? Si llegara a tener 2 malas, tiene 6. Si llegara a equivocar déjeme ver, estamos hablando de, si llegara a equivocar en las que vienen de la 30 a la 50, se tiene que equivocar en 4 nada más. Solo se puede equivocar en 4 más de 20. Entonces, es como 2, siempre 2, ¿verdad? 2 de la 1 a la 10, 2 de la 11 a la 20, 2 de la 21 a la 30, 2 de la 31 a la 40 y 2 de la 41 a la 50 para tener 551. That's so easy, right? Y este es un tema de minimal pairs. Okay, ese ha sido, this is our class, right? This was our class about listening. Ahora ya vieron la importancia del listening. ¿Qué pasaría si estuviéramos en un curso de TOEFL? Bueno, tengo que repasar los minimal pairs, los sonidos. Porque probablemente no contesto bien por el sonido, no por el vocabulario, porque el vocabulario simplemente lo conocen. A lo mejor es un problema con los sonidos. ¿Entienden? Por la importancia del listening. Okay, guys, we have already finished. I don't know if you have any questions so far.